Alright, in this video we're going to calculate the standard deviation by hand. The first thing we'll do is look at the data. These are days of the month, 1, 6, so the 11th day, the 16th day, the 21st day, and the 26th day, and the corresponding temperatures on each day. What we want to do is calculate the deviation, or the distance, of each of these temperatures from the mean. X bar is the mean. But we don't have the mean yet. So we better calculate the mean. How do we calculate the mean? Well, we want to take the sum of the temperatures. We're going to add them all up and divide by how many there are. In this case, 6. So let's take -4, add 7, add -2. Need brackets here because of the plus on the minus. Plus -10 plus 3 plus 0, all divided by 6. Which is going to give me something out of 6. Let's see what it is. -4 plus 7 plus, I'll put brackets even though my calculator might not need it, plus -2. Or if you don't want to put brackets in other ways, plus -10 is just the same as subtract 10 plus 3 plus 0, which you don't even need to do because plus 0 wouldn't change anything. You get -6 divided by 6. How many times does 6 go into -6? You can do that in your head. -1. So now I know the mean is -1. So calculate the deviations of each thing from the mean. In other words, how far is -4 from the mean? The way to figure that out is just go, what's -4 minus the mean of -1? And you might have done this in your head. Minus -1 is just +1. -3. That shouldn't surprise you, right? -4 is 3 below the mean of -1. That's what we mean by deviations. Here, let's do the next one. How far away is 7 from -1? What's 7 minus -1? 8. No surprise there. 7 is 8 above -1. You might not even need your calculator anymore. I'll do one more. How far is -2 away from -1? So -2 minus -1, -1. In other words, this was 3 below, this was 8 above, this was 1 below. -10 is -9 below. Or use your calculator. 3, that's 4 above, and 0 is 1 above. That is, these are the deviations, how far each item is from the mean. Now we want to take our deviations and square them all. So -3 squared, use your calculator if you need it, 9. But remember, all your deviations squared have to be positive. Because what's a negative times a negative? A positive. A negative times a negative? A positive. Each one of them better be positive. Square 1 again, you get 1. So far, so good. So, when we go to calculate our standard deviation, we'll use a formula. This formula will be given to you. It's the square root of the sum of the deviations squared all over and -1. Few things when writing this formula: make sure your square root covers the whole formula, including the top or the bottom, and make sure your fraction goes the whole way. The sum of the squares. Well, we need to calculate the sum of the squares, so I'll sum up that column there. It's 9 plus 64 plus 1 plus 81 plus 16 plus 1. You get 172. So this will be the square root of 172 all over and -1. N is how many things there are. There are 6 things. So it's 6 minus 1. In other words, you get the square root of 172 over 5. And you can calculate that all at once on your calculator. Let's figure out what's the square root of brackets 172, because I wanted to do the square root at the end. So square root of brackets 172 divided by 5, close the bracket, and I get approximately 5.865. Therefore, the standard deviation. I'm not sure if this was a word problem, but just in case, write a word answer. The standard deviation is 5.865. And that's how to calculate standard deviation by hand. With your data, find the deviations from the mean by first calculating the mean, and then finding the distance of each data from the mean. square those deviations, add them all up, and make sure you label that you've done the sum. And then take the sum of those deviations, divide it by how many things there are minus 1, and take the square root of that. That gives you standard deviation.